Right now, somewhere in your body, a yawn is building. Maybe not this exact second, but soon. You'll feel it rise in your jaw, your eyes will water, and your whole face will stretch open. You'll assume it means you're tired or bored or that the room needs more air. A small glitch, barely worth noticing. But the real answer is far stranger. Your brain has been planning that yawn for longer than you'd believe. It is one of the oldest pieces of software your body runs. Older than language, older than fire, older than the idea of being human at all. The oxygen myth. For decades, scientists assumed yawning was simple. Your brain needs oxygen, so you open your mouth wide and pull in a big breath. It was a tidy explanation repeated in classrooms for generations, but it was completely wrong. In 1987, researcher Robert Provine and his colleagues at the University of Maryland ran a study that quietly broke this idea apart. They had subjects breathe pure oxygen and then watch others yawn. If yawning was about oxygen, the extra surge should have stopped the reflex. It didn't change a thing. People yawned just as much. Sometimes the explanation that feels obvious isn't the one that's true. So, if it isn't about air, what is it? The brain's thermostat. The modern consensus points to something far more mechanical: thermoregulation. Your brain runs hot, almost like a small engine, generating constant heat just by being active. If it gets too hot, the chemical reactions that let your neurons fire start to slow down. Focus drops, and decision-making worsens. A yawn acts like a cooling fan. The deep stretch of your jaw increases blood flow to your face and skull, allowing cooler blood to circulate through your brain, dropping your internal temperature by a small but measurable amount. Andrew Gallup, a researcher who has spent years studying this exact mechanism, found that people yawn more in environments that match body temperature and less in environments that are too hot or too cold for the yawn to do its job. Your body, without asking permission, is running a thermostat through your face. This explains a phenomenon you've likely experienced. Right before a big moment, a presentation, a performance, or a difficult conversation, people often yawn even though they aren't remotely tired. Athletes yawn moments before competing. Performers yawn in the wings. It isn't nerves making them sleepy. It's their brain temperature spiking under pressure, and a yawn is the quickest way to bring it back down. The social signal. But thermoregulation still doesn't explain the most famous trait of a yawn: why it is so intensely contagious. To understand that, we have to go back before cities, before villages, before most things we recognize as human life. Picture a small group of early humans resting together as the light starts to fade. There are no walls, no locks, no streetlights, just open land, and whatever might be moving through it in the dark. For a group like this, survival depended on staying alert together and resting together at roughly the same time. Imagine the alternative. Half the group falls into deep sleep while the other half stays watchful. The resting half is vulnerable, and the watchful half is burning energy for nothing. What works best is a synchronized shift. If one person's brain signals that it's time to lower alertness, and that signal spreads to everyone nearby instantly, the whole group shifts state together. A yawn, it turns out, may be one of the oldest group synchronization signals your species ever developed. Studies on contagious yawning by primatologist Elisabetta Palagi found that yawns spread more easily between individuals who share an emotional bond. Friends catch each other's yawns more than strangers do. Family members more than acquaintances. This pattern isn't unique to humans. Palagi's research on chimpanzees revealed the exact same bias. The contagion isn't random. It follows the map of relationships. The empathy mirror. Why would emotional closeness matter for a physical reflex? Because it was never really about temperature alone. It was about connection. Your brain has specialized regions involved in understanding what other people are feeling, often called social mirroring systems. When you watch someone yawn, these systems activate. Your brain, in a sense, tries on the other person's state. Tired, relaxed, winding down, and your body follows. This is why some people barely catch yawns at all. Research on individuals with certain neurological and developmental differences shows reduced yawn contagion, tied to how strongly these social mirroring systems fire. The more attuned your brain is to others, the more susceptible you are to their yawns. Catching a yawn isn't a sign of weakness, it's evidence that your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do, reading the people around you. Even young children show this. Yawn contagion emerges gradually, strengthening as a child's social awareness develops. A toddler may watch you yawn and feel nothing, but by adulthood, that same person will struggle not to yawn back. The reset button. There is also a fascinating flip side to this mechanism. Research has found that yawning can actually increase alertness immediately afterward. The deep breath, the muscular stretch, and the surge of blood act like a small reset button. Sometimes a yawn isn't a signal to wind down. It's your brain hitting refresh, clearing out sluggishness before a shift back to focus. This dual nature explains why yawning shows up in such polar opposite moments. Right before sleep, when your brain is cooling down for rest, and right before a high-stakes event, when it needs to manage a temperature spike under pressure. It's why you yawn during long, boring drives or on flights with recycled air and shifting cabin pressure. Highway safety researchers don't view yawning as an afterthought. They treat it as a critical early warning sign of driver fatigue. An ancient conversation. There is something profoundly moving about this if you sit with it for a second. A yawn feels like nothing, an involuntary twitch, something to stifle in public or apologize for. But it is actually a message passed down through hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution, still running quietly in the background of your nervous system. A signal that asks, I am shifting states. Are you with me? And the people around you, without realizing it, are still answering that signal. Every single day, in offices, in cars, and in living rooms, the same ancient question is being asked and answered by people who have no idea they are doing it. It is one of the few moments where you can witness evolution happen in real time, right on your own face. So tonight, when you feel that familiar pull in your jaw, and you glance over to see someone else yawning too, you'll know what's really happening. It's not boredom. It's not bad manners. It's one of the oldest conversations your species has ever had. And right now, somewhere in your body, it's still being repeated.